This initiative is brought to you by a group of young people and organizations supporting youth from Southern and Northern Ontario. The online workshop series that our current workshop is a part of was co-created with Northern Lights Collaborative, Young Leaders Circle, Catalyst X, Coach Katrina, and it was sponsored by the Ontario Trillium Foundation's Youth Opportunities Fund. So today, we are joined by Ardelle, but I would love for you to introduce yourself. I have a little bio for you, but tell us a little bit about yourself and the workshop.
Yeah, okay. My name is Ardelle Sagutcheway. I am originally from Iyabitan First Nation, but I currently live in Thunder Bay. I don't know what I do. No, just kidding. I'm a writer, but I also I consider myself an advocate for youth. I use my voice to speak on issues that I have experienced that young people are still experiencing, and so currently right now I found myself working in the school as an Aboriginal achievement tutor, working with young Indigenous kids and just helping them be more engaged in school and whatnot, and just kind of being a support for them. So my work has taken me kind of different places, but the one thing that I've always felt grounded in is in writing. So I host writing workshops, but it sometimes falls it's different. Sometimes I'll do a writing prompt, or I'll just do a presentation style talk about some different works and sort of how I've grown over the years. You probably hear some kids in the background. They're in the living room. They've been quiet up until now, so it's kind of surprising to hear them. I've just and I've been living in Thunder Bay for about almost 10 probably almost 10 years now, and so I consider this my second home for sure. And so I'll just kind of the work. I'll be sharing some poetry and talking a little bit about giving context to each poem, and just and then afterwards, just if you want to have a conversation about those poems, or if you want to have discussion about something.
Sounds great. Very excited.
On those issues. Okay. I have a couple, and I'm gonna share screen a digital story that I had done. Probably not the first one, but that's going to be something that I will share. Okay. So a lot of my work is talking about issues that I have gone through, and I really only started sharing my work just recently. It's taken me years and years to build, the courage to be able to share what's going on in my head. It's a very vulnerable position that writing, and not just poetry writing, but writing in general. You're putting yourself out there into the world and sharing your thoughts and your hopes and dream, and but then also you sharing your fears and your flaws. So The first poem that I'm going to share is called We Go to the Land. And I had written this, I had written this like a couple years ago when there was an inquest going on here in Thunder Bay, a 7 First Nations youth inquest that Tanya Talega has written about this inquest and about the 7 youth who had passed away here in Thunder Bay going to high school. And I experienced that as well, but then I also found myself, being a part of the inquest. And a a, a, a way that I had found that really helped me to like process was to write. And this comes from, from that time. Okay. We go to the land. Our young people are looking for something. They keep returning to the water, finding solace in the green spaces of the urban centers. Don't you understand? Can't you see what's going on? We are forced to leave our communities. They prepare us young for the harsh realities of Canada, warn us about the dangers. We know that in this world there is no stable footing for us. It isn't until we are older that we realize how bad, how horrible it is for us. Most of the time, the final journey home is in a coffin, carried on the shoulders of those left behind, those who survived. We have always wanted to go home. Home is where we are safe. Home is the land, surrounded by the comfort of our family and friends, the spirits and the ancestors, trees and water. There we don't worry. We don't have to look over our shoulders. No one is out to get us. No one will hurl racial slurs at us. No one will try to throw things at us from their vehicles. We know our place within the family and within the community. Underneath the cries of help, we only want to belong somewhere that reminds us of home. But we know that our home is broken. No clean drinking water, no adequate health services. We've become broken and we know this. We don't get to experience high school with our families, forced to move, made to fly over hundreds of kilometers to attend school for a better life. What they don't tell you is how much of a burden you are to the older people and to the people in charge. They don't explain that actually you don't qualify for a better life. You will always be at the bottom of the list, the last one found. I'm sorry, child. If you make it, you'll be a strong and resilient adult. Yeah, and so that's my. I've shared that a couple times at different events throughout the years, and it's just something that I feel very passionate about is Indigenous youth education, Indigenous education. From what I had learned from the inquest was that yeah, it's not it's not the priority of the government to make it, and um,
That's
yeah,
beautiful.
thank you.
Yeah, it's hard to even come up with words, like it's just sort of like a feeling, that you have of great sorrow, I think, for just the way things are, right? And the way that they've been for so long. And I just think, though, that us like talking honestly about it is like a huge, it's actually like a huge step, like to be able to be honest about it. Because I think for so long, like I just see this in my grandmother, right? We've been so used to being silenced and putting our needs, seeing a shift. And I'm sure it happens with every generation, you know, there's like um, more of a consciousness, more of not wanting to, you know, put up with any more mistreatment, but also maintaining like who we are somehow, like not becoming like the colonizer, right? I think is something that I concern myself with a lot. And I don't think a lot of people think about that, you know, internalized colonialism. Like, what does that look like? What does that feel like, who is that, I guess, or what is that? And like, it could show up in all kinds of people, like not just white people, not just, you know, like I think that's something, is that even our own people uphold those ways and values and ways of thinking. And sometimes it's not just the other, it's like, you know, it's also within us, right? And I think like poetry like this, I just love it because it gets me thinking and remembering like why we're doing the day-to-day work that we're doing, right? Who is it for, I guess? Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess, yeah, and that's a good way to like lead into the next part that I want, the next video that I want to share is like healing. You know, writing for me has very much become healing. And I've used it, you know, to help me along my journey, because sometimes, you know, you can't trust what's going on in your head, because like you said, like a lot of our beliefs and our values are, you know, come from, yeah, like internalized throughout the generations, I guess is my way of saying it. And so I'm going to screen share this thing. Let me see if I can figure it out. Okay. So
If I cry, don't mind me over here.
can you guys hear the audio?
Play it again.
Okay. Dear young Ardelle, the first thing.
No audio.
Okay. I need to. There was a button I think I forgot
I
to
could do
press.
something, but it was very faint.
It was like, dear younger Ardelle. Maybe if you're able to turn it up a little bit.
Oh, because it's turned all the way on the app on the YouTube, but maybe on your computer you could turn it up.
About baby elephants. She will tell you that when baby elephants are born in a zoo, they are chained around the ankle 24/7.
Amazing.
When they are sleeping or having a bath. Okay, I'm gonna start it over. If I can figure it out here. Dear young Ardelle, the first thing your counselor will teach you when you go into recovery will be about baby elephants. She will tell you that when baby elephants are born in a zoo, they are chained around the ankle 24/7, even when they are sleeping or having a bath. The baby elephants are made to believe that they are weak and inferior right from birth. And as adult elephants, they become incapable of freedom because they don't know that they are strong. She wants you to know that you are strong. The weight of your pain is not strong. You are loved. You are worth it. You were young when it first happened. It doesn't even feel like that long ago. You had no choice, used because you never said yes. You never said no either, is what they would say. Your uncle took advantage of you, and so did your teacher. And after those assaults, you were never the same. I know that you don't see a future because there's nothing for you beyond grade 9, and you know that there are no jobs in the res. The only thing to look forward to in your future is a lifetime of social assistance and struggle. And I know it's not just you who feels this way, it's everyone in the community. The elders not out to help you, and you're smart, you know this already. You will learn to adapt. There are some memories that will never go away. You will try and forget what happened with drugs and alcohol, but it won't work. The suffering and silence reminds you of your place, reminds everyone of their place. I am here to remind you that you are not broken. You do not need to be fixed. The reckoning of silence is coming. You will find your voice in the chaos that is life, and damn, what a powerful voice it will be. In your future, the chain never leaves you. There are still moments of being frozen with fear. The darkness threatens to overwhelm you. It no longer entraps you, but the weight of the burden is heavy. There are the endless moments of hope. Optimism bursts from the ashes like a phoenix burning over and over again. You will find the courage to be better than you were the day before, and you will find the strength to heal. There is lightness and darkness. The edge is what I balance on. Sure. Okay.
When did you start writing?
Yeah, I probably started writing like when I was in grade 10, but I never really, really thought I was any good at it. There would be periods of during my life where I wouldn't write, like, but then there would be other periods where I just like write so much. It's been a love-hate relationship for sure over the years. Mm-hmm.
What do you mean by that when you say love-hate relationship?
Yeah.
I sound like a therapist, but you expand on.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Like a love-hate relation. I mean, like, like how you think you have so much going on in your head, like, and you want to be able to get it out, but then you're like sitting with a blank paper and a pen, and you're like, oh, why can't I do this? I know words,
I agree. I think the best things I've written were in my head.
Yeah, exactly. But then, like,
something
getting them
together and you're like, damn, that's dynamite. And then you're like, oh, what was that?
Exactly. Yeah. So it's like that. Like sometimes, like, I know what's up there is pretty cool, like, but how do I get it out, and still keep it cool? I don't know.
But yeah, definitely, Ardelle, you're like, you hold it down with your voice and your wisdom that you carry through your work, through poetry, but also just in like who you are and how you're like raising your kids, and you're like bringing them out to community functions and
my junior associates.
Yeah, yeah, it's so incredible, and and it's just in a stark contrast from like the story that you share of like parts of your life. Like our lives are not always just all bad or all good, but I know, like, for myself, I have a tendency to dwell on the bad. So I feel like I relate to you as someone in that way, but I also know like we joke around a lot and can have so much fun together at the same time.
Yeah. I could share one more if that's okay. And it's interesting because you were just talking about matriarchs, right? And the next poem that I wanted to share is titled Her Anger. And I've shared this at the Climate Action Day. We had one here in Thunder Bay, and they asked me to come and speak, so I shared this one as well. Sorry, I just had to check to see if my kid was peeking. Her anger. She don't need words to express herself. It is felt in the ground shaking, seen in the tall buildings crumbling down, and everyone hears the roar of the never-ending fire. Our hearts speak to her, but our ears have gone deaf. She's been talking to us for a while now, but we've turned our backs to her, refusing to listen. The brutality in this relationship is what sustains us both, because there's also beauty there. She loves us unconditionally. We crave the chaos, let's no longer deny it. The sick feeling takes over. Once again, we are reminded of our place. It's our own fault, really. We were bought too easily, believed too quickly the lies. It spread like wildfire in a dried out forest, taking everything around with it. The clues were all there. For every cause, there's an effect, a reaction to something changing, consequences to every damn mistake we have made. Her wrath will have no mercy. Even though the dreams of a better future fill her too, the tears flow free down past the mountains and into the valleys. In one last desperate act to cleanse us, the waters washed over us. Never ending and endless, how did it all begin? It became sadness deep rooted in love. It's always been about love. How is that not obvious? She loves us, and I wish we could become who she needs us to be. Thank you. that's one that
Amazing.
I've shared. I grew up in the reserve. I had to leave Thunder Bay. I had to leave for Thunder Bay for high school when I was like 13 or 14. But I've always had a really like close connection to the land. I was raised by my grandmother mostly, and so she was always like helping out in community events, helping out with the elders, and so I was always like hanging out with her and helping her and watching her be part of the community. And while like I saw the beauty of what she's doing, there's also like sadness because she was only one person trying to be a big support for a lot of people, and that was a lot of pressure for her. And also like I've seen how the world has changed from when I was a young person to how it is now. Yeah, I don't know where I was going with that.
Oh, it's so cool to get that kind of insight into like how you grew up, because it makes so much sense, and it's like really cool like to just see the way you involve your kids into everything that you do. And like I just love that about you, because I remember one time an elder said something to me when I was working at NAN like years ago, and they said something like, we used to just like bring our kids to meetings, and they would like sit there in the meetings, and it wasn't a big deal. Like you didn't need to have childcare. And that really like, I was like an aha moment, it really clicked for me that I was like, yeah, we need to be building like spaces where kids are safe. Like if they're not, then there's something wrong with whatever we're doing. So what did you think about this experience, Ardelle? Like, what do you think about doing this kind of thing online? Do you think it's
interesting? Yeah, it's interesting. Like it's definitely community, connecting, still community connecting, and then it's just it's missing the physical aspects of the connection part, which is like, if you think about it, we're used to that, so like we have to get used to a new norm for a while.
Yeah, and it's just sitting in that discomfort of unknowing, right, and not knowing is so hard, I think, for us to, we talked about this before the call, like just that, like, it's almost like you believe you have control when you feel this sense of normalcy, and then when it's like taken away, it just kind of, it makes you feel like you're not in control, but in reality, we're never in control. We never have any control. And I think like on some level, we do understand that, and we're being forced to understand that. But yeah, I was also just thinking when you were talking about something Bushra had mentioned too. I hope that I'm saying your name okay. Just correct me. But she was saying like there is an article out there about sort of like the psychological impact of having to make this transition of like being online and not having that immediate physical response. And I would be really interested to read that if you want to share that with us, if you have it, but we could also just get it another time. But yeah, I just wonder how we can like prepare ourselves and our communities, you know, for this long haul.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think, yeah, it's something, you know, we're just rolling with it. I feel like, you know. Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, that's all I wanted to share. It was just,
I love it.
yeah, you know, I've actually, like, I've nearly completed a collection of poems that I've been working on for the past year or so, and then so in the next little while I'll be trying to figure out what I want to do with those, you know, if I want to put them like in a book or whatever. Yeah.
That's so dope. I wonder if we have time, if anyone did, if we wanted to open the floor, if anyone did like want to share anything else, any other thoughts, or if you even have writing of your own, it would be kind of cool to reciprocate that, but not to put anyone on the spot.
What about you, Sarah?
Well, I actually, when you were talking, it reminded me of like something that I had written recently, like in a writing workshop, a little bit. It was in Elizabeth Hill's like writing workshop.
Oh yeah, I wasn't able to go to that one. I think I went to one long time ago.
Would have loved it. And the writing prompt was, "This is crap," and then you kind of just like write.
Yeah.
Based off of that thought. And there was another writing prompt. And like actually what came out of it was kind of like where my thoughts were. And it's interesting, like reading it now, this was like months ago. And now it still feels like so relevant to read it, because it is about like Mother Earth, and like, you know, and how just kind of like about that intergenerational stuff. And I think about that a lot, like the connection between like the treatment of our bodies as women and like the connection to the treatment of the land. And like it is like huge when you just share, you know, honestly and openly about your struggles and how you've overcome it, because it can really be the switch for someone too, like I think, and I've experienced that, and I think other people have experienced that from me. And you know, it's just, yeah, it's like important to keep doing, I think, just keep sharing. Oh cool, Cece, share your poem, because I'm just blabbing, but
Are you sure? Okay. So when I wrote this in 2010, so it's actually 10 years old. And I just had to look it up on my notes on Facebook. But anyways, what an addiction and nasty habit you are, always taking over when he's really getting far. You suck it out when it all goes down. You come in all shapes and sizes, but he likes brown. You really are selfish in all your ravishing ways. If he leaves, you come back to ruin the glory days. Why can't he let you go? Why won't you disappear? You make him run right to you every time you're near. It's really getting gritty, all that you have done. You keep resurfacing whenever he has won. I wonder what more you could have than me. What will it take to set the man free? So many times I've seen him fight. You take it all away as if you had the right. You are liquid, but you cannot rinse this away. For as long as you are here, the trials are here to stay. Engraved in blood and stone, you seem to last, making your appearances more frequently vast. You know your game and your objective. You are very sly, but never selective, clawing your way back into the door. he can't see through the tinted glass anymore.
That's so awesome. I love it. I love the way you read it too. It was really amazing.
I could just relate, like, just using writing to, like, get through struggles, and just like when you were younger and having like a love-hate relationship. Sometimes you can, sometimes you can't. So thanks for sharing, Ardelle, and just inspiring me to maybe write a little.
I'm trying to find a poem, but I'll read this one. I don't know why. I don't know why, but this is the one that like came to my mind, so I'm just gonna read this one. But this is from like 2003, so this is like how old was I? I guess I would have been. I'm so bad at figuring those kind of things out, but I'm pretty sure it was like 15 or 16, somewhere in there. Maybe someone else can math better than me.
Some teenage angst.
Some teenage angst, yeah. So this is what I used to write, and I actually have like a whole book here.
Oh wow, that's good.
Yeah, like not like a thick book, but yeah, I was really into this before, and I'm trying to get back into it naturally with writing workshops and stuff. But I don't know why, but I always feel this pride about this one for some reason. So I'll just read it. No Man's Land. The water runs slowly down the drain, overflowing but escaping the guilt and shame. Waste of time, that's what was said, and then my thoughts were what it fed. Strange in a familiar way that a simple sentence could splurt such blood where I lay. A sense of calm descends after the storm. There it lay forgotten but mentioned and mourned. So innocent, so surreal, so sweet. Sadness is beauty covered in a clean white sheet. All of this, it brings me to life and makes me realize nothing and everything wasn't worth the fight. So dramatic.
I like it. It's cool.
I
Yeah,
thought it was wicked.
I think a lot of that was actually about like fights with my stepmom. So yeah, it's just like I like looking back at this stuff and just kind of like, because I think sometimes you forget what it's like to be a young person and to be, existing under like someone else's power and schedule and such like that. Like, so I think it's really great to hang on to this stuff and like even old journals to like read back on it, to just remember what it's like. It's really hard to be a youth, and I think like we're trying to we created these workshops with young people in mind, and we are, a lot of us are pretty young, or we're young at heart. But the youth are like so burdened right now with, and I don't like that. I wish that the schools would have just let them transition into such a
Yeah, it's so awesome that this workshop has brought us together, but I'm very excited, and I'm very excited to like know you, and I'm happy that there's youth out there that have people like you.